What's going on, everybody? I'm back again with another video, and I'm out here at Ayala Triangle Park in beautiful Makati, the Philippines. But today I'm gonna walk towards another side of Makati that I've never been. Oh, there's a part I've been, but it was years ago. While Makati is known for having modern high-rise buildings, beautiful parks like this, they do have multiple barangays, and it's a pretty big municipality out here. So I'm gonna be walking towards the other corner because they got like little 4 barangays next to each other. There's also a cash and carry. So I think it's called San Isidro and Pio del Pilar, and I think it's much more like local than areas like this. So I'm gonna walk towards where Buendia Avenue is because a lot of people, they always focus in Ayala. But I'm gonna head towards where Buendia is and walk the other side to see what are the vibes out here. So without further ado, join me. Always never stops to amaze me, the beautiful Triangle Park. Greenery with modern buildings. Pretty busy because today is Tuesday, so people are working. They're probably in the lunch break. But you'll see it busy on a weekday, but we're gonna head towards Ayala and walk all the way towards where Buendia Avenue is and then make a left and see what's happening in that direction. So now we're here, I'm passing Paseo de Rojas. And usually on the weekends or many times they do like festivals out here, marathons. And then the thing about Makati, if you want to go towards the other side, you don't just cross the street, you got to go underground and make it towards the other side. I'm already seeing one, so I'm gonna do my first underground cross and walk towards Ayala until I make it towards Buendia. But to be honest, I think I'm gonna walk towards the corner because it's probably faster, and I think it'll be a good joint for some B-rolls to see the skyscrapers that's happening over here. Like I said, we're gonna go to another part that I think is gonna be pretty different. Keep in mind, I've already been in other areas that are part of Makati, Guadalupe, and it's pretty different from here. Also, yesterday I posted a video in BGC going by the shortcut and passing South Sembo. South Sembo literally borders Makati and Taguig. So part of it is in Makati, and you can see how the area is pretty different from here where I'm walking. But this proves you that it's a big city and there's a lot to offer. This is one of the nicest intersections, Paseo de Rojas and Ayala. And you can see they're building a skyscraper over here. But if you go all over Ayala, I call it like the 5th Avenue of Metro Manila, you know, buildings after buildings, a lot of developments, but we're gonna see how the vibes change once I make it to Buendia and I cross like underpasses of a bridge and see how the vibes gonna change over that way. Here's one of the multiple underpassages. Beautiful because they paint the ceiling. This one is renovated, I can see, but I'll show you in front. You see the underpassage. And look at the tunnel over there, beautiful. Like I say, I like how they decorate the ceiling with some street art, and then at the other side it continues Ayala Avenue. Like I say, it never stops to amaze me, this district out here. And I think that's another reason why I like living in BGC, because I can just take Angkas or Grab depending on my comfort level. And within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, depending on the traffic, I'm in this neighborhood out here, so a lot to offer. Here we are back again in the heart of it, Ayala Avenue. I think it's like the heart of Metro Manila, financial, everybody work. You'll see a lot of expats that they live here. I think most of them, they focus on living where Poblacion is, which is also part of Makati. And that area is pretty much famous for the nightlife, but yeah, like I said, it's a big neighborhood that has a little bit of everything. I'm just walking through the modern side, but I kind of want to get in my cardio and walk towards the other side too. So that's why I started my video in Ayala Triangle. This is what it looks like in front of me. You can see how the sidewalks are pretty clean. They do a good job to keep, you know, the main avenue nice and clean. I think a lot of forms of commute, they pass over here, so a lot of workers, they be waiting. But yeah, mostly surrounded by modern skyscrapers. Like any other city you can get in the neighboring Asian country or even back in the West. Also, the neighborhood has multiple mega malls next to each other. Like I think the main one is Glorieta, but they have a wealthy one that's called Greenbelt, SM Ayala, and I think, yeah, a couple of other malls I don't know about. So like if you want a shelter and get some air conditioning, you could go inside the mall. So I love how they got it covered with trees and the palm trees in the middle. Like one thing that a lot of cities should be, especially if it's in tropical countries like this where it gets very hot over 100-degree weather or 40 Celsius, they should plant more and more trees. Because I feel like the trees kind of helps out with the weather. You know, over here, within a few weeks, it's gonna get brutally hot. And you know, some people, they have health conditions, so you can literally suffer a heat stroke with this heat. So that's why I feel like they should put more nature if you're in the city center, like put plants, put trees. That way it kind of helps out, you know, with the weather. Also stay hydrated, you know, there's plenty of 7-Eleven, Uncle John's convenience stores where you can get yourself some refreshments. So here's where the vibe is gonna change. Buen dia, but I think they also call it Dill Puyal Avenue. There's an overpass over here with an escalator. So I probably can get some decent shots ahead of me. Never taken this escalator, but I'm gonna see what the vibes are. And then I'm gonna walk towards the other side because I never walked in this part of Makati. This is the escalator. I'm gonna cross towards the other side. At least the good thing about Makati, or the main areas, is that it's pretty safe to cross the streets compared to other parts of Manila. And over here there's multiple jeepneys. So you can see how the neighborhood's gonna get local. I gotta go down that way, but there's an escalator here. And I think here's where the vibes are gonna change. Still high-rise buildings, but it's not gonna be like too developed like Ayala. So now let's see what's happening over here, barangay area or Makati. Here it seems like they're gonna build a building, and there's a couple of hotels. There's a Red Planet. A lot of the hotels, the cheaper ones in Makati, they're a little bit outside the city center. Especially if you go in Camagong Road, the area is kind of local. It's part of Makati, but it got some pretty decent hotels over there for like 35, maybe 40 bucks a night. You know, you could find a decent price. Like I said, well, here's gonna get more local, but you can see some of the high-rise buildings. I think this one ahead of me is called Residence. You see how tall it is. The residences. A lot of people, when they get Airbnb, a lot of people, they be staying in that building over there. And then here you see some of the high-rise buildings. It's Makati for you. Some of the high-rise buildings in Makati. Now let's see what can we find here. One thing I'm liking is the sidewalk is well paved and there's shade, there's trees, so you know, not too hot. I know somebody in the comments telling me to check out Buen Dia Avenue instead of Ayala. But Buen Dia goes all the way towards EDSA. This is like another area. But over here it's looking pretty nice because they still got some high-rise buildings. This is what it looks like. You can see they got tall buildings here and trees. So yeah, like I say, a lot of people, foreigners, they don't venture in this side. And then once you make it towards the other direction, it's gonna be a change of vibes, but it's still part of Makati. But I'm noticing they have a university out here, so that explains why a lot of students are wearing like uniform. Here's getting busy because this is gonna connect to a highway. I think it's the Metro Manila Skyway, and that's a skyway that passes pretty fast. It goes near the airport too. Sometimes when I take the Grab, they ask if I wanna take the Skyway, and they'll charge it to my debit card because there's tolls over there, and I think it's a faster way to avoid the traffic jam in EDSA. Look at the traffic over here. Even over here, there's tall buildings. I think if you go over here, it's much more residential, and it'll shortcut you through the mall. I think Greenbelt, but I'm gonna walk straight over that way. That's where the high-rise buildings are gonna start. I'm kind of like in the borderline of Palanang, San Isidro, and Pio del, I forgot the name. Yo, the traffic is intense out here. They be driving nuts down in Makati. I've driven in Makati before because I used to rent a car near Ayala Triangle Park, but once you know time passes, you get used to it. But yeah, pretty cool out here. They still got some pretty nice residential units, and I think the reason you see the buildings over here because it tries to border with the Skyway. You know, I've taken the Skyway a few times, and I passed by these buildings, but I never knew, you know, this area would go near that side, so I'm just walking it by feet to see, you know, how the vibes be changing. Also, no matter what, be careful of the pavement. There was like a step that goes down, so if you don't pay attention, you can literally fall down. But I think it's also because of the trees. Like the trees sometimes makes the pavement not be too good, but at least it gives some type of shade. Because like I say, summer can be pretty brutal out here. Like it's not that same weather you get back home in the States. Like it's a pretty brutal and super hot, humid weather. You know, a lot of people be, oh, I'm from Texas, I'm from California, but I tell you, the heat here is very different. It's intense. This is why I say, be careful of the pavements. Because if you don't pay attention, you can literally fall down. Not gonna lie, everything looks nearby in the map, but it's actually a little bit of a walk. There goes the bus. Here's a nice building that has a beautiful mural or street art ahead of me. But I think it's gonna be cool. Oh, they got like a pub over here. Nice. This looks like it's a mall. So they got a mall right here. Oh, Mega World. Mega World is like one of those private corporations out in the Philippines. People working hard out here. What's that? And then look at this beautiful street art. The tree is kind of blocking it. It says San Antonio. So I think this district here is San Antonio, which is part of Makati. There's also a Filinvest mall right here. It seems like they build a mall and then they build condos on top. A lot of Filinvest, they literally have like malls in the first level, and then on top they have like a high-rise condos. You know, I think they have them literally like all over the country. Then ahead of me, whoa, it's raining over here. Ahead of me, I think it's where the Skyway is. And once I pass under that bridge, the vibes over here, they be changing. So I think no more high-rise buildings. Ooh, it seems like it's watering over here. Need a little bit of water because it's very hot. But yeah, let's walk forward and see how the vibes will be changing. So over here's the highway, and that's Metro Manila Skyway on top. Once I pass that, it's still Makati, but it will take you towards the older part of Manila. And this is where, you know, the vibes are really gonna change. So this would be a cash and carry. I went there like, woo, years ago. So I just wanna walk around and take a look at it. So this is called Barangay San Antonio. So I think if you walk over here, they might have some action going on. But pretty chill today, and look, I'm supposed to cross, but it looks like it's gonna be a little hard for me to cross. Let me figure that out. Do they have an overpassage or an underpassage? Let's see. Here I am crossing the street. There's gonna be a different vibe in the other side. Once you pass the Skyway, this is what you get. Much more local vibes, but it's still kind of like the borderline of Makati. I think a block ahead, I'll go to the other side and you'll see the cash and carry. I came in the nighttime and it was actually pretty busy, so, oh, look at this car. Dope and sporty. And there goes the bus. I think there might be a bus terminal not too far from here. And then of course they got a gas station, Petron, which is a big brand out here in the Philippines. I think the building next to me on my right is cash and carry. Yes, it's been, wow. I forgot how long since I've been here. But yeah, this is another face of Makati that a lot of people, they don't really show or cover. So I think over here might be Pilar. There's a street here called Fillmore Street. And then ahead of me is where I want to show you, like the district. Now people are waiting here, I guess, for the bus. So the sun, yo. Shout out. Working hard, huh? Yeah, hello. Beautiful people out here. And then over here should be the cash and carry that I want to show you. So yeah, see how different this is called Barangay San Isidro, and then I think this is another Barangay Palanang over here. So I'm reading the signs of the road. And then over here should be the cash and carry. So like I said, this is still part of Makati. So Makati is not just all high-rise buildings, massive futuristic malls that got, you know, local neighborhoods like this. I ain't gonna lie, even some of the streets are reminding me when I went to other cities like Davao, Iloilo, because the buildings are not tall. But this is the heart of Metro Manila. Here's the KFC. Something tells me it's gonna be intense for me to cross the street. And that's cash and carry right there. So yeah, after this car is my chance to cross. I'm the only foreigner walking around here. Black and Hispanic foreigner. And over here they got all these tricycles, like if you need to get to another side. And they sell coconuts, refreshment, and here it is. Let me see if I remember. I think the main entrance is in the other side. This is a cash and carry, and this thing, not only a supermarket, it's kind of like a mini mall on the inside. So yeah, I think I remember I came this side and it was busy with street food. But I think the main entrance is in the other direction. Yo, even from here, I can feel that air condition blasting pretty hard. But I don't feel like it's really that hot yet. Wait until next month. I'm gonna have to bring an umbrella. Good thing I bought like a rag so I can wipe my sweat. But I'm not really sweating that much. I don't think it's a good idea for me to wear dark clothes during temperatures like this. But the main entrance of the cash and carry is right here. And they have a parking. And there's a local street right here. So I'm probably gonna venture a little bit into the local street to show you what's going on. Here it is, no entry, but you can see the front part of Cash and Carry. It's like a mini mall. It still looks the same after years since I've been around here. I want to cross the street to the other side to see what can I find. Probably gonna walk around some of the regular streets and see how it is. And then I'll make it back towards the main financial district of Makati. This is a little portion of Pilar. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing it right, but it is a beautiful barangay. Like, look at the sidewalks. Nice and well paved. They have a lot of trees, you know. You see Titos, you know, riding their bikes. And then this, yeah, like I say, mostly what you get in many other barangays throughout the Philippines. And it's actually quiet. I think in the afternoon when the weather gets nicer and people get off of work, you'll see there's actually busy out here. But yeah, we got some pretty lovely houses, especially here to my right. Gonna do a couple of other blocks ahead and then merge to the left and then back to the left and try to check out another barangay here. Ibarra Street. The street is nice. I think the only thing that's ruining it is the spaghetti or the cable wires. If Metro Manila didn't have that, I tell you, this city would be pretty much, you know, beautiful and popping. It is still beautiful in my opinion, but I see way more potential. The city could be one of the top peers in Southeast Asia. And here you see more going on. Look at the house. Looks like a condo that they built right there. It looks nice. And then look at the sidewalk, how nice it is. And this is like, you know, the real Philippines. Like I said, a lot of people, they stay focused, like in Poblacion, Ayala Avenue, BGC, but these are the areas that you really want to explore. Real people, real community. I'm gonna make a left towards the other side, I think. That would take me back and then I'll venture into another barangay. And over here, I like how well paved the streets is. I've said it a million times. Streets over here are way more better paved than my island, Puerto Rico. If you were to go to Puerto Rico, you'll see literally potholes all over. But here, I mean, of course, depends where you go. There might be potholes in certain areas, but these are main streets that make it look pretty nice and neat. Then over here, there's no trees, so I'm literally gonna cook in the sun. But I'm gonna head towards the other street and make it back to where I was walking and then merge back, and I think probably gonna go by the Legazpi area of Makati. What is this, like a medical facility? Nice. Pretty chill now, but like I say, I'm pretty sure in the evening it's fiesta or busy out here. I like this apartment. And then look at this little mini trikes that can get you around. And the sky is pretty beautiful and blue. So yeah. Then over here, I'm gonna merge back towards where I came. I think it's called Ayala Street. But this is a beautiful barangay, you know, pretty well maintained. The streets are nice and organized. They keep the streets, you know, pretty cool. And then over here, we got the famous Uncle John. So maybe I should stop by and get water or some type of refreshment. And then over here, ta-da. It takes me back to Cash and Carry, and you can see the high-rise buildings of Makati. Spotted another foreigner walking. I thought I was the only one, but good to see another one venture out here. Then over here is busy because they got all the tricycles waiting. So I think if people go shopping in the Cash and Carry, they come out here. They take their tricycle and they go to their destination in barangay. I just like the layouts of the streets, how it looks like. Pretty cool. I tell you, it's a city that has a lot of potential. Great cuisine, you know, and the people, I think is what makes this country great. And here's more. Now I want to make it to the other barangay that would connect me towards Legazpi. So I got to cross a busy street that is underneath the Skyway. And here you got more, I guess, vendors selling. I'm gonna walk in the shade, it's a bit hot. And there's a restaurant over here that sells like brunch, I think. Upshift, oh, that's cool. Let's see. It's a cute cafe. Over here, you're gonna find a lot of, in neighborhoods like this, a lot of cute cafes and restaurants, and pretty good price, and the food is pretty decent. I'm in this other barangay called Pilar. So we're gonna see what the vibes are here. I think they have like a circle ahead of me, and it's probably like another shortcut to make it towards near Ayala and Greenbelt Mall, according to the map. But it's mostly a local neighborhood. Like I said, this is really part of Makati, right behind the main avenues or the touristy areas that people cover. To my right, they have a really nice building. I'm not sure if it's like an apartment complex. Seems like they have their own private parking. Then residential units, seems like they have sales right here, clothes. I gotta tell you, this is the real deal over here. Two kuyas are skating. Well, even the tricycle has clothes and outfits. And the sari store, like I told you, there's a lot of convenience here. Let me let this car pass by. Look at the car, it's an old classic car. Actually looks like those cars from the movie Mr. Bean. I forget one of those. Dude probably like tall, but he used to ride those cars. I think they're pretty famous in the UK, so looking at that car reminds me of that movie. And here's more of the streets. I'm gonna make my left and then another right, because I think that's where the circle is. And then here you see the tall buildings ahead of me. Gonna make a right to see what's happening over here, but it's pretty much local. You know, a lot of people, they be living out here. And then I like this building over here, it looks nice. And there's a beautiful tree here ahead of me that I want to show you with the flowers. And look at this tree, how nice it is. Let me let the truck pass by, because the streets are pretty tight. And over here you see how beautiful. Not sure what's the name of this tree or the plants. And I just discovered that even here in Manila, where it's hot, they have cherry blossoms. They got a couple of them in Bonifacio. But yeah, see the tree, and this is the circle. I'm not sure if this is like a stadium or coliseum. Like this building, not sure what this building is, but pretty interesting. And then the modern buildings are over that way, so it goes around in circles. Oh, there's a coffee shop right there, big coffee, that is cool. And then over here, there's a sari store. So I think I'm gonna go around to show you this. And then here you got a beautiful tuxedo cat. Hey cat. Cute, right? It's a tuxedo cat, nice. And they got a couple of eateries over here where people can eat food. Local street. Sari right here with convenience stores, and then more buildings right here. Then the modern buildings are over that side. I like the design of this one, it's pretty cool. Like the buildings and everything. Look at this street, guys, busy. If I keep walking, it'll take me deep into the city center. But this is kind of like the real Makati right here. Nice. Yeah. Look at the people, local people. They even have like a local market out there. I want to walk and see it, check it out. Gonna detour over here to see this outdoor market that they have happening right here. So look at this, guys. They sell mango. Oh, it's covered. Mangoes over here. They sell fruits. Kind of this. I guess this is where the people come and get their food. Oh, they even have a fish market. Nice. Wow. Pretty local. And this is the Pilar barangay. Then they got vegetables out here. Who would have known that they had this right here in the Makati area? Look at the seafood, wow. And carinderia. This is awesome, man, I like it. Well, anything you need, they got it out here. You don't gotta go far. You can just do it all within walking distance. And I like this building in the corner. It looks nice, but I'm gonna detour over here to see what's going on. And then you see the new buildings combined with the older buildings. So it's giving me that vibe of South Sambo bordering Bonifacio Global City. Like you see the modern condominiums combined with the older buildings and barangay units out here. This is how, you know, most of the locals, they live. Pretty humble life, but they're always smiling and happy. And you see the houses here, how beautiful they are. I think one of those houses would give me like a thumbnail. But here you see how wide the streets are. Now I'm gonna shortcut in the other side and head into one of the local malls to get a little bit of air conditioning and then head back to my condo. So I think one name that they call this is Palenque, which is kind of like a little outdoor market where you can literally find everything. I used to go to a Palenque when I was staying in Cubao, and they have literally everything, even shops, restaurants, food for your pets, like anything you can imagine for a much more affordable price. And once I pass this highway is where the modern side of Makati starts. You got this, wow, look at all these wires. And over there's nicer because there's plenty of trees that covers. So it should be safer. So now across the street, and this is where the vibe change. Over here is more developed than the other side. But I like that area, really cool, because you get to see the local vibes and how the people live. Now I'm gonna cross towards the other side, and that should get me towards the local park, which is Legazpi, but look at the streets, how they look. See the contrast? And it's not just the Philippines, you know, this happens in many cities, even in New York, other cities like, you know, other countries. But I like it actually because you get to see, you know, both sides of how people live, how they interact, and I think it's a good way to experience a culture in a country that you visit, you know, going the wealthy area and going like the local side so you can see how people live. Now I'm about to enter Legazpi Park, and the other side is Washington Park. So funny, I started the video in the park Ayala, now I end the video in another park. Yeah, but this is a little local park, a little outside of Ayala, and pretty nice, you know, it's pretty chill, pretty cool. Ahead of me, they even got like a fountain in the front, and then residential units. So Makati, I think, is a district that has it all. Like a pretty complete city, you know, like I say, it has the modern buildings, the malls, and then they have the local barangays, and they have recreational parks. Something that I think BGC could really use. They do have local parks in BGC, but they're really not like this. They're more like an artificial look, so I think they could build more natural parks like this. This is the other park, Washington CC Park. I don't know if I'm saying it correct. This one's actually nicer than this one because I feel like it has more trees. It even has like a little lake inside, but I'm not sure if I could jaywalk. They're a little bit strict here, the sign. Please step back behind the sign. You can see how different it is here from where I was walking the barangay. But that's the beauty about Philippines, and I'm happy that I chose to live out here. Here's the other park. It's not big, but it's beautiful with trees. And then the other side is to be Greenbelt, which is pretty much a high-end mall, outdoors, indoors. Then it collides with other malls like Glorieta. So just showing you what's out here before I finish the video. You see how beautiful it is and how they maintain it. And I think Metro Manila should start building parks like this, but bigger ones, kind of like, I'm not gonna say like in the scale of Central Park, but you know, a lot of neighboring cities, they have nice parks. They can build a park like this, build maybe like a botanical gardens. That way it balances out like the city lifestyle. Well, here is the lake. There's actually a cat over there sleeping. This cat lives a good life, man. They just sleep, chill, and then here, got the local lake. We're here, let me show you the cat. Hey cat, how are you? You good? I'll let you sleep, okay? But I think this is gonna conclude my exploration out here in Makati, showing you another face of the city, you know, beautiful and local areas, barangays, but they all have their own beauty and their own styles. That was the end of my video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more. Be safe out there, everybody. God bless y'all, and peace.